Hello, and welcome to the Mommy Escape Time podcast. I am Lauren, your host, and I have a 1-year-old son. I started this podcast for any mother who might feel alone in their journey through motherhood. Becoming a mom is hard no matter how you get there, and this podcast is about the mom stuff that comes up in our lives. Listen, enjoy, and connect with us on the Mommy Escape Time podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Mommy Escape Time podcast. I am Lauren, your host, and I am here with you today. I know last week I didn't put up a show and I didn't do anything, and I haven't been on social media in like 2 weeks. It has been a very rough 2 weeks. We are not sick. We do not have COVID, but we have had just a lot of unexpected things happen. So it's pretty much just going to be a life update. I'm trying not to keep it too, I don't want to say depressing, but negative. And I'll just try and keep it positive as much as possible. But it's hard. I mean, in these times, it's very hard to keep positive. And I get sick of people saying, just, you have to be happy for your health and whatnot. And I am happy for my health, and don't get me wrong about that. But there's a lot of tough stuff to deal with, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of unknowns. So all of that is hard, and some people deal with it better than others. I've been doing okay, but the last 2 weeks have been really tough. And I think part of the reason that it has been so tough is that the effects of not being at work and not being at school has taken a toll. And I have seen it greatly increase in my students, and just there have been just some very scary situations that have almost been very traumatic. And I think that, you want everyone to be safe, and you want everything to be as safe as everyone can be. But there's always a cost for what you do. There's always, if you do this, then, this is the result of that. And that has been a huge part of the past 2 weeks, is this worth it? Is this lockdown really worth what's happening to so many people? So I will start off by saying that I've experienced 2 deaths that have nothing to do with COVID, or are not related at all to COVID. And they have been very tough and very unexpected. So that has been just a little rough. I had planned last Thursday that I was going to do an episode, but there was no way I was getting through that. So, and I've been pretty much off social media and everything, but I do plan to come back. I am trying to do better and get on social media and post. Gosh, if I could post twice a week, I think that would be like such a good thing for me, but I just don't know if it's possible or not. So I'll keep trying. So we'll see. But the other thing that happened is school just got really, really hard. If you are at home and you're trying to teach your kid, it's so hard. So hard. And then if you are the teacher, managing all your students is just impossible. I think we see that there's this great, I don't want to say divide, but they're starting, kids are done with this. In Connecticut, it was announced yesterday that we are not going back to school, and we're not surprised that we're not going back to school. That is not really our concern at this point, but our concern is our expectations of our students. And I teach high school, so that is different than elementary school, obviously, or middle school. It's also different. Every kid is different, so it's very hard to explain, but we don't know if any graduations are going to take place, or if they are, when. If they're going to take place in June or July or August, all those things are obviously unknowns. And it's the beginning of May, so it's very hard to say, yes, we're doing this, or no, we're not doing that, when we don't even know um, what's happening. At the time, last week, we were at a stay at home till May 20th. That puts me at 10 and a half weeks um, of being home. Really, it's 11 weeks because it's it's 2 days shy of me being home 11 weeks. And at the time, we were one of the last states that was going to continue being shut down for all that time. Um, Now it's not like that. There are states that are closed until I think June 6th, I've seen is the latest. Um, and I know, I think in Wisconsin they were talking about theirs goes till May 30th, but they were expecting it to extend also. So, I mean, I don't keep track of when each state has been on a lockdown. Um, my mom lives in Florida in a retirement community, and there have hardly been any cases where she lives, which is kind of surprising because it's a very large community, and obviously it's 65 and older, and there are hardly any cases. So I'm not sure if it's because those people can are really sticking to their social distancing or not. I'd be surprised though because so many people in that time are coming in or staying or leaving, and grandkids are coming in and out. And I remember when this all started, my mom was like, yeah, it's packed here. Everyone's grandkids are in Florida. And that was all the way through April 1st. Um, and I even think the beginning of April, it was like that too. I can't remember when they like limited people coming into Florida, but the people coming into Florida have not as greatly affected Florida as they have here in Connecticut. So, good news is that at this point, so this is May 5th or 6th, I can't remember what day it is, um, but that our hospitalizations for COVID have been going down steadily. So that is good. That's always, that's what we're looking for. And so we got about 2 more weeks, and then, I mean, our lives aren't really going to change. Restaurants are going to be open at outside only, I think, and stores can open with 25% capacity, but everyone has to wear a mask. So, and everyone's all over the map about the mask thing in Connecticut. If you are going into a place, so if you are outside, you don't necessarily have to wear a mask, but if you are going to an inside place at all, you have to be wearing a mask unless you are 2 or younger. Which is very hard because my child cannot stand 1 second of me wearing a mask. So, not that I would take him out at this point, anyways, to go to a store, but in an emergency, I might have to, like, there's so many times where I'm like, if I could just do this and run in with him, it would be so much easier on my life. So I think that has really been getting to me a great deal, that it's like, I'm just, I'm doing without so many things for so many weeks, and it's getting tiresome. So that is very hard. Work, gosh, I know I already started to say a little bit about work, but work has been hard. It's hard with the students. It's so hard with the parents. Everything is just hard. It's every day is hard. Every minute is hard. They change when the last day of school is about once a week. So I have had 4 different end dates in the past month. So it's just been hard because, you would like one thing to know that, okay, this is going to end at this date. And the only thing I have is our school year. So I still don't know when our school year ends. And it's a big difference. We're not talking like 1 or 2 days. We're talking about 2 or 3 weeks at this point. So it's a big difference, and it's very stressful. Um, so it's just hard. So okay, I'm done talking about all the horrible things, except for one more thing. but I'll actually come back to it at the end of why everything has also been so hard. Um, I mean, money is always a concern, obviously. I mean, there's not one minute of the day where I don't think that money is a concern. What I'm going to be paid next year, if I'm not going to get this paid, our insurance, there's so many uncertainties and there's so many things that just, it's very hard. It's so hard. My husband has his own business, so that is also very stressful, and the money with that. So everything, there's no like, everyone's like, oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't feel like that for me right now. We're not there yet. So I'm working very hard to just try and stay positive, and that's why I couldn't come on last week at all. I couldn't say anything nice. Um, but I will focus on now. I honestly will talk about some stuff that is good. We did buy a push lawnmower. It is an electric mower. Um, we do we do have about 2 acres of land, so there are many reasons that we went with this push mower. One of them is noise. I cannot stand the noise of these gigantic lawnmowers, and they are just everywhere in our neighborhood. And when our neighbor next door has their person come to mow their lawn, it is so loud. On and they're not like right next to us either. Um, it is so loud that I was in a Google Meet for a class and no one could hear anything except the lawnmower. And he was, I don't know, 500 yards away, 1,000 yards away from where our office was. Or where my office was or where I'm working, I should say, these days. And I had to go into an internal closet in our house and sit in there and do my Google Meet because it was so loud. So that's number one, have, why we're doing this electric mower is the noise. Second is it's much better for our grass. We have a huge like wet problem with our grass. It just seems like it's always wet. Granted, it's been raining for like 100 days straight, so that doesn't help. But if you have a sit down mower, it like ruins the grass. We have so many spots in our grass from last year when someone mowed our grass, and because they mow when they mow. I mean, they don't come when it's downpouring rain, but they could come the next day. So we have a lot of problems with that. So we're, and the push mower is obviously cheaper than a sit down mower. And normally when my son is asleep, I'll go for a walk for like half an hour, 45 minutes. So now instead I just mow the lawn, and it's the same thing, and it's just like pushing the stroller. And when I'm not pushing the stroller and walking, it's actually harder for me. Which is probably not a good thing because that just means that my leg is not healing properly. But it's much easier. So we had it last week, and we didn't have both batteries charged up ready to go. One comes with a lawnmower and one we already had. And that one, I don't even think the first one that we owned, we had completely charged it yet. But I put it in and I worked on the lawn, and it went for about 35 minutes. And then I changed the battery, and then it went for another like 45 minutes. So that got basically our whole front lawn done, which is basically what I was looking for. And then we did a little more later that day, probably like 20, 30 minutes. And then that was Saturday. And then on Sunday, we just did the backyard, and that took about, I would say, like an hour total. So it is a little more time consuming. But I mean, I guess that's all we got. We got time around the house. So this week, mowing the lawn is going to be a little more complicated because it's supposed to snow. So, and it's supposed to rain on Thursday. It's supposed to be nice, but Friday is not supposed to be nice, and Saturday it's supposed to snow in the morning. So I don't even know if it's worth it to cut the grass at that point. So we might have to be doing it Sunday and Monday. But again, it looks like it's going to rain like every single day. So I think that's the hardest part, is trying to figure out when you're going to mow the grass based on the weather, because um, we have had really horrible weather here in Connecticut. It has just, like, we're just not getting any breaks. Um, Last weekend it was so nice and everyone was outside and it was so much fun, and it was like, okay, we can do this. And then it comes back and it's gonna snow. Um, so it's kind of hard for Mother's Day weekend that it's going to snow. And it's kind of hard because we have a lot of like flowering trees and they're all going to die this weekend. They're all going to lose their flowers. So, it's like we got 1 week of them and that's it. So I think that's just, at some point you just get tired of it. Like, you just want to go outside. You just want to get something done. And all these people are like, oh, I'm working on my garden. Oh, I'm working on my lawn. Oh, I'm doing this. And it's like we can't even get 2 days in a row where we can be outside. Um, so I think that's been hard. Like, you can't get outside. So that's another reason. We went almost a whole 2 weeks where it was just downpouring rain every single day, wind 30 miles an hour every single day. So I think it's hard. Our leaves are coming out on our trees. So I've had super bad allergies the last 2 or 3 days, but now they're getting much better now that the leaves are out. So I'm hopeful that I don't need any allergy pills after this week. So that's very exciting. Um, the other really exciting thing is that I am very good at sticking to my exercise plan, which I have never been able to do before in my life. Um, so I have been very consistent since the beginning of April. Maybe the last week in March, with my exercise plan. So I do Insanity, which is like a beach body workout, 3 days a week, and I run 2 days a week, and then I hike 1 day a week, and then typically one day of the weekend I like walk at least 6 miles. It's been tough the last 2 weeks because that hasn't been possible, and it definitely won't be possible this weekend. So I'm trying to maybe do like quick little workouts in between instead. But the goal is a minimum of 5 days of hard workouts. And the biggest thing is that I can run 2 days a week for 40 minutes. And I've definitely improved over the past couple of weeks. I've definitely gotten better at my running. But, I'm back to my knee hurts and stuff like that. And if you don't know, back in 2018, August 2018, I fell down the stairs and I broke my leg and my ankle and messed up my knee. So it has been a few surgeries, so many rehabs, and I feel like I'm just in physical therapy for the rest of my life. So, um, you know, I have to like really ramp up my physical therapy right now. And people are like, oh, just run less or do that. It's just not my lifestyle. So that's like, uh, if physical therapy doesn't work, then I'll just deal with the pain. Like, I've dealt with the pain for the past 2 years. So, I have a very high tolerance for pain. Um, I don't take anything. Um, I don't think I've ever taken anything for. When I had my knee surgery, I didn't take any medicine for that. Um, and I try not to. I never um, take anything for it. If it's painful, it's painful. Like, I need to know that it's painful, so I need to know what's wrong, and I need to kind of study where it's painful. So when I go to the physical therapist, they can be like, you need to work on this and this. And this was always my understanding from my knee surgery, that I would have pain. Um, so I either can get over it and keep working out or not. And for some reason, that is something that I can push through so much on. The pain doesn't. I mean, it bothers me. I wish it wasn't there, obviously, but it's not going to stop me. My goal. Oh, I have so many goals for running, but once it gets nicer out and consistently nice out, I should say, I will be running more and doing Insanity a little less. Um, I probably won't do that till a minimum of June. I would like to get through this whole month doing Insanity and running, and then next month taper down my Insanity and add more running. And then the goal would be in July to add 4 days of running and like one, maybe 2 days of insanity, and then flip flop it that way, just so I can get in more miles running and improve my running and, get back to my regular running life on top of all my physical therapy that I have to do. So, um, and it was so hard because before I run, I have to do like these, like, I don't want to say 5 exercises, but basically it's like these 5 exercises to like warm up my knee and my leg. Um, and of course, as soon as I woke up this morning, my son was up. So he had to be with me while I was doing my exercises, which are always a little harder, but it was all right. It's like there's so much you just can't control. Gosh, it would be so nice to just control something, wouldn't it? So, ugh, I didn't even talk about all the worstness. Um, this is going to be such the worst podcast ever, but the biggest thing that we had to decide, I guess we didn't have to decide this week, but our plan was to take our son to Disney this summer. And I had 2 dates, and I was so excited, and I really thought they were going to happen. And I am sure that Disney World will be open this summer. I am just not sure it will be to the point where I want to go visit it and that I want it to be my son's first visit. So my husband and I had come up with what were our things that it would have to be in order for us to go to Disney this summer. And we had a trip planned at the middle of July and the middle of August. And we've had the trip for middle of July since last June. So June 2019. And I've been looking forward to this because I could not go to Disney in 2019 because my leg was not strong enough to sustain going to Disney World. And not that I need to go to Disney every year, but I wanted to take my son so badly. He enjoys our local amusement park so much that I knew he would love going to Disney World. And I just wanted him as, I don't want to say a little baby, but just as a smaller child. So, I could have those pictures and memories. And so 2019 was out. So since June 2019, I have been so excited about this trip. And I've been reading a lot about what's going to happen to Disney World, and obviously nothing is set in stone. And then we took some financial hits, and so it was like we can't do this. I'm not going to pay money to have a half experience at Disney. I am one that I am not going to wear a mask outside at Disney for when it's 90 or 100 degrees outside with 100% humidity. It's not logical. It's not practical. It's not necessary for me to go through all that just to go to Disney. And it wouldn't be fun for my son. It wouldn't be fun to take pictures with characters, even if that's up, and I don't even know if that's going to be a possibility, with me wearing a mask. I don't want a bunch of pictures of me wearing a mask with characters or anything like that. So, it was sad. It was so sad to cancel that trip. So, but it is what it is. And I'm just hopeful that hopefully our local amusement park will open this summer. I don't know if that's a possibility. I'm just hoping that something is going to be open for kids because it is so hard for these kids. We're putting them through so much. So I'm hopeful that, we can have some fun this summer and still go to our local amusement parks and regular parks. I'll take regular parks at this point, anything. So that's pretty much it. I know it's not a very happy podcast. I know it's not a lot. I wish I had better things to say. I will try next week to come up with something better. I know a lot of you liked the toddler game. I don't think I can do that again, although my son is talking all the time, but it takes a lot of work to do that. So we'll see. I am trying to get someone else to be on the podcast, so it's not just me. I am hopeful that in the next week or so that I will be able to do that. So we'll take it day by day. So I hope everyone out there is staying safe, and staying well. And it's hard. That's all I can say. I think I've just been doing this a long time, and I just need a little bit of a change. I need a little bit of relief. I know people are looking forward to getting their haircuts and stuff like that, and that is like the last thing on my list. I want my son to be able to enjoy something in his life. Not that he's not enjoying his life right now, but I just think he would enjoy. I mean, he talks about going to the playground at least 20 times a day, and I just have to say no all the time. So it will be great when someday I don't have to say that. So, anyways, I hope everyone stays safe and happy and healthy this week. And I promise next week I will have a happier, upbeat episode for you. And yeah, just stay safe. Thank your frontline workers. And yeah, okay. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.